Caught my wife sending inappropriate photos to her coworker and she blamed me for working too much, so I showed the screenshots to her entire family at Easter dinner and now she lost her job and her parents won't speak to her. I pulled up the screenshots on my laptop right as my wife's mom was bringing out the ham. Easter dinner, 12 people around the table. Her parents, her sister and brother-in-law, my parents, some cousins, everyone dressed nice talking about spring weather and someone's new deck. And I'm sitting there with my phone synced to my laptop, hands shaking, about to blow up my entire marriage in front of her whole family. My wife looked at me from across the table. Babes, what are you doing? Just pulling up some photos, I said. Thought everyone would want to see what you've been working on. Her face went white. 3 days earlier, I'd grabbed her phone to check the time because mine was dead. She was in the shower. A text popped up from someone saved as just work. Just said last night was amazing with a fire emoji. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The messages went back 2 months. Photos, videos, stuff I can't unsee. My wife, who told me she was working late on the new campaign 3 nights a week, was actually at this guy's apartment. She'd sent him photos in lingerie I didn't even know she owned. Stuff that made me sick, and the messages weren't just dirty, they were mean. She complained about me, called me boring, said I worked too much and didn't pay attention to her anymore. The kicker, when I confronted her that night, she turned it around on me. Maybe if you were actually present in this marriage, I wouldn't need to look elsewhere, she said. You're gone 12 hours a day, I eat dinner alone every night. When's the last time you took me out? I work in accounting, tax season. I told her in January it would be brutal until April. She said she understood. Apparently her understanding lasted 6 weeks before she found her coworker from the marketing firm. You invaded my privacy, she kept saying. You went through my phone without permission, that's toxic. I couldn't believe it, she was making me the villain for discovering her affair, so I didn't argue, I just said okay, and I planned. Her mom set the ham down, everyone started passing dishes. My wife kept staring at me, panicking now. She knew something was coming but couldn't figure out what. Actually, before we eat, I said, standing up, I wanted to share something with everyone. Honey, sit down, my wife said. Her voice had that edge to it, that warning tone. No, I think everyone should see this. I turned the laptop screen toward the table. These are text messages between my wife and her coworker from the last 2 months. I clicked to the first screenshot. Her mom gasped. The messages were explicit, really explicit. What is this? Her dad said. Stop, my wife said. She tried to grab the laptop, but I pulled it away. This is between us, you can't. Here's a good one, I said, clicking to another screenshot. This is from March 15th, the night she told you all she was working late on that big presentation. She's actually at his place, you can see the timestamp. Her brother-in-law leaned forward. Jesus Christ. I kept clicking, more messages, photos, the whole timeline. I'd organized everything by date, 2 months of lies right there for everyone to see. And here, I said, getting to the last screenshot, is what she said about me when he asked why she doesn't just leave. Quote, he's boring but he pays the bills, I'll ride this out until I find something better. Complete silence. My wife stood up crying now, you're insane, you humiliated me in front of my family. You humiliated yourself, I said, I just provided the evidence. Her mom started crying, her dad looked like he wanted to flip the table. My own mom put her hand over her mouth, my dad just nodded at me real slow like he understood. Get out, her sister said to my wife, get out of mom and dad's house. This is my childhood home. I don't care, get out. My wife grabbed her purse and left, slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. Nobody went after her. Her dad looked at me, son, I'm sorry, we raised her better than this. Turns out her coworker was married too. His wife found out because my wife's company has an ethics policy about workplace relationships. Someone at that Easter dinner knew someone who worked in HR at her firm. By Tuesday, both my wife and her coworker were fired, not for the affair, technically, for violating company policy and creating a hostile work environment, since apparently they'd been pretty obvious about it at work and it made other people uncomfortable. My wife moved in with a friend. Her parents won't return her calls. Her sister blocked her number. She's been texting me saying I destroyed her life over a mistake, that I'm controlling and abusive for airing our private business. Says she's talking to a lawyer about how I violated her privacy and defamed her character. I filed for divorce last week. Our state is no fault, but her lawyer knows about the affair and the circumstances of how it came out. She's not getting alimony. She wants half the house. My lawyer laughed at that. But here's the thing, people keep telling me I went too far, that I should have just filed quietly and handled it like an adult, that I weaponized her family against her. My own brother said I was cruel for doing it on a holiday. Even my lawyer said it was unorthodox when I told him about Easter dinner. Part of me feels justified. She cheated, lied, blamed me, and called me toxic for finding out. She deserved to face consequences. But another part of me wonders if I just wanted revenge, if I'm actually the villain here for making sure everyone knew what she did. Am I a butthole? My wife showed up at my office yesterday with her lawyer. I was in a meeting with a client when my assistant knocked on the door, said there were 2 people in the lobby demanding to see me. I excused myself and walked out to find my wife standing there with some guy in a cheap suit holding a briefcase. She looked awful, hair unwashed, eyes puffy, wearing sweatpants and an oversized hoodie. "We need to talk," she said. "You have a lawyer for that," I said. "Mine has all my contact information." "This is different," the lawyer said. "We're here to discuss your illegal distribution of intimate images." I laughed, couldn't help it. Those weren't intimate images of her, those were screenshots of text messages, and she sent those images to someone else, not me. "You distributed private communications without consent," he said. "That's illegal in this state. We're prepared to file charges unless you agree to our terms." My assistant was watching this whole thing, so were two other coworkers who'd come out of their offices. My wife was shaking, crying again. She does that a lot now, apparently. "What terms?" I asked. "You dropped the divorce," she said. "We go to counseling, you publicly apologize to my family for what you did, and you pay for my legal fees and the income I lost from being fired." I stared at her. "You're joking." "I'm serious," she said. "You ruined my life, you owe me this." "I ruined your life?" I said. "You had an affair. For 2 months, you lied to me, to your family, to everyone. You sent naked photos to another man and talked about leaving me while living in my house and spending my money. I didn't ruin anything, you did." "You had no right to tell my family," she said. Her voice got louder. "That was private between us. You wanted to hurt me. You wanted revenge." "I wanted people to know the truth," I said. Her lawyer stepped forward. "My client is willing to be reasonable, but if you don't agree to these terms, we'll pursue criminal charges for distribution of intimate images and sue you for intentional infliction of emotional distress. The screenshots you showed included photos of her. That's revenge porn." "Those photos were already sent to someone else," I said. "By her, I just showed evidence of her affair. That's not revenge porn, that's just revenge." "We'll let a judge decide," he said. They left after that. My boss called me into his office an hour later, asked what that was about. I explained the whole situation. He already knew most of it, company gossip and all. He told me to take the rest of the day off and get my own lawyer involved. So I called my divorce lawyer, told him what happened. He actually laughed. "She can't sue you for showing text messages," he said. "And revenge porn laws require the images to be distributed with intent to harass or harm. You were providing evidence of infidelity to relevant parties. That's protected. Her lawyer is an idiot or he's desperate." "What do I do?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "Let them file, they won't, and if they do, we'll crush it." That night my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. My wife's friend, the one she's staying with, sent me a long message about how my wife is devastated and depressed, how she cries all day, how she can't eat or sleep, how I destroyed her mental health by humiliating her in front of everyone she loves. I didn't respond. Then her mom called. Her mom, the woman who told her to get out of her house on Easter. "She's my daughter," her mom said. "I'm angry at what she did, but she's still my child. What you did was cruel." "What I did was show people who she really is," I said. "You could have handled it privately," she said, "filed for divorce quietly, let her save some dignity. Instead you made sure everyone knows, her friends, her coworkers, our church, everyone." "She made sure everyone knew I was boring and only good for paying bills," I said. "She told her coworker I wasn't worth staying with. Why does she get privacy when she didn't give me respect?" Her mom didn't have an answer for that, just said I should think about forgiveness and hung up. This morning my wife texted me directly, first time since Easter, said her lawyer was just trying to scare me, said she doesn't really want to sue, she just wants to talk, just the two of us, no lawyers. I showed the text to my lawyer. He said don't respond and definitely don't meet with her alone. Said she's probably trying to get me to say something she can use in court, or record a conversation where I admit to wanting to hurt her. But part of me wonders if she's actually sorry, if she realizes what she lost. Her job, her family, her marriage, everything fell apart in 1 week because of what she did. And then I remember that quote from the screenshots, the one I showed everyone at dinner. "He's boring but he pays the bills. I'll ride this out until I find something better." She's not sorry, she's just stuck now. No job, no family support, no husband to pay for everything while she looks for something better. My brother called me tonight, said I should at least hear her out, that maybe she deserves a chance to explain, that people make mistakes and maybe counseling could fix things. I asked him if he'd take back his wife if she did the same thing. He got quiet, then said that's different because his wife would never do that. Exactly. I'm not dropping the divorce, I'm not apologizing, and I'm definitely not paying her legal fees for a lawsuit her own lawyer probably knows is garbage. But everyone keeps acting like I'm the bad guy here, like I should have protected her reputation, like I owed her discretion after she spent 2 months sleeping with someone else and complaining about me to him. Am I supposed to just let her get away with it because making her face consequences is mean? Her coworker's wife contacted me 3 days ago. I was sitting at my desk when I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line just said, "We need to talk." I almost deleted it thinking it was spam, but something made me open it. The message was short, said she was the wife of the man my wife had the affair with, said she had information I needed to see, included her phone number. I called her during lunch. She answered on the first ring. "Thank you for calling," she said. Her voice sounded tired. "I wasn't sure you would." "What information do you have?" I asked. "The affair didn't start 2 months ago," she said. It started last June, almost a year ago, and they weren't just coworkers having an affair, they were planning to leave us both. My stomach dropped. What? I found emails, she said, going back 10 months, they were looking at apartments together. Had a whole budget worked out. Your wife was going to file for divorce in May, right after tax season ended. She told him you'd be too busy to notice her moving money around. I couldn't breathe. Send me everything. She did. Within an hour my inbox was full of screenshots. Emails between my wife and her coworker discussing their future together, apartment listings they'd saved, a shared spreadsheet tracking both of our finances, figuring out how much they could take in the divorces. My wife had been transferring small amounts from our joint account to a separate account I didn't know about, 300 here, 500 there. Over 9 months she'd moved almost $18,000. There were emails about me too. My wife told him I was easy to manipulate because I trusted her completely, said I never checked the bank statements, called me clueless and pathetic, said the only hard part would be pretending to be sad when she left. They had a date picked, May 15th. She was going to tell me she wanted a divorce, claim she'd been unhappy for years and walk away with half of everything plus the 18 grand she'd already hidden. But then I found the texts on her phone in March, ruined everything before they could execute their plan. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. He called me an hour later. This changes things, he said. The hidden account is financial fraud. We can freeze her assets and force her to return the money, and with proof of premeditation we can argue she shouldn't get any marital property split. Do it, I said. My lawyer filed an emergency motion that afternoon. By the next morning my wife's hidden account was frozen and she'd been served with an order to appear in court to explain the transfers. She called me screaming, "You froze my account, that's my money." "That's our money," I said, "that you stole, while planning to divorce me and take half of everything else." "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. "I have the emails," I said, "all of them. You and your coworker planned this for almost a year. You were going to leave me in May. You were moving money and looking at apartments and budgeting out how to screw me over in the divorce." "Silence then, who told you that?" "Does it matter?" I said, "it's true." "You're twisting things," she said. "Those emails are out of context. We were just venting. We weren't actually going to do anything." "You moved $18,000 out of our account," I said. "You made a spreadsheet of my finances. You picked a date to tell me you wanted a divorce. That's not venting, that's planning." She started crying again. I was confused. I was going to end things with him. I was going to come clean and fix our marriage, but then you humiliated me at Easter and ruined everything. "You were 2 months away from leaving me," I said. "Don't pretend you were going to fix anything." I hung up. She kept calling. I blocked her number. Her friend texted me later that night, said my wife is having a breakdown, said she's been crying for hours and won't eat, said I need to stop this legal persecution and let her have access to her account because she needs money for basic necessities. I didn't respond to that either. Yesterday I got a call from my wife's dad, first time he's contacted me since Easter. He said my wife told him about the frozen account and the court order, said she claims I'm making up lies about hidden money to avoid giving her what she deserves in the divorce. "She's not lying about the account existing," I said. "Your daughter stole $18,000 from me over 9 months while planning to leave. I have proof, emails, spreadsheets, everything." He was quiet for a long time. "Send it to me." I did. Haven't heard back from him since. My brother came over tonight, said people at church are talking, said my wife has been telling everyone I'm abusing her financially. That I cut off her access to money and left her homeless and desperate, that she's the victim of a controlling husband who won't let her go. "What do you want me to do about it?" I asked. "Defend yourself," he said. "Tell people the truth." "I am telling the truth," I said, "in court with evidence. I don't care what people at church think." "You should care," he said. "Mom is getting questions. People are looking at our family different now." "Then maybe they should ask me for my side before they judge," I said. He left after that, told me I'm becoming bitter and vindictive, that I'm not the person he thought I was. The court date is next week. My lawyer says with the evidence we have, my wife will be ordered to return the stolen money and will likely get nothing in the divorce. Says her lawyer will probably try to settle to avoid the public record of financial fraud. But I don't want to settle. I want everyone to know what she did, how she planned this for a year, how she called me pathetic and clueless while stealing from me and sleeping with someone else. Part of me knows I should take a settlement and move on, get my money back and end this. But part of me wants her to stand in front of a judge and explain why she thought it was okay to do this to someone who loved her and trusted her completely. Is that vindictive? Probably. Do I care? Not really. My wife's coworker killed himself 2 days before our court date. His wife called me at 6 in the morning. I was still asleep when my phone rang. She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Said she found him in their garage, said he left a note blaming both of them for destroying 2 families, said he couldn't live with what he'd done. I didn't know what to say, just sat there in bed holding the phone while she cried. "I'm sorry," I finally said. "I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault," she said. "None of this is your fault. I just thought you should know before you hear it somewhere else." I called my lawyer after we hung up, told him what happened. He was quiet for a minute, then said the court date would probably be postponed, Said my wife's lawyer would use this to paint her as a victim. Said we needed to be prepared for her to claim emotional distress and trauma. He was right. My wife's lawyer filed a motion that afternoon requesting a continuance and asking the court to unfreeze her account due to extraordinary circumstances. Said my wife was experiencing severe psychological distress following the tragic death of someone she worked with. Said denying her access to funds during this traumatic time constituted financial abuse. My lawyer filed an opposition. Said my wife's relationship with the deceased was the cause of his death, not my enforcement of my legal rights to marital assets. Said she had access to funds through her friend she was living with and didn't need the stolen money for basic necessities. The judge granted the continuance but denied the motion to unfreeze the account, set a new court date for 3 weeks out. My wife started posting on social media after that. First time she'd posted anything since Easter. Long paragraphs about grief and loss and how cruel people can be, about how someone she cared about took his own life because people couldn't forgive mistakes, about how society treats people who make errors in judgment like they're irredeemable monsters. Never mentioned the affair, never mentioned that she was the one he was having an affair with, just vague posts about compassion and second chances and how you never know what someone is going through. People who didn't know the full story started commenting with support, sending prayers and love, asking if she was okay. She responded to every single one thanking them for their kindness during this difficult time. My brother sent me screenshots, said people at church were talking again, said my wife showed up on Sunday for the first time since Easter and cried through the entire service, said she stayed after and talked to the pastor for an hour, said she's telling people she's suicidal and needs support from her community. Is she actually suicidal? My brother asked. I don't know, I said, maybe, or maybe she's using this guy's death to make herself look sympathetic. That's a horrible thing to say, he said. It's a horrible thing to do, I said. My mom called me that night, said I needed to check on my wife, that regardless of what she did, I have a responsibility as a Christian to make sure she's safe, that if something happened to her, I'd never forgive myself. She has friends, I said, she has a friend she's living with, she can check on her. She needs her husband, my mom said. I'm not her husband anymore, I said, not in any way that matters. You're still married legally, she said. Until the divorce is final, you have obligations. I hung up on her, first time I've ever done that. She texted me an hour later saying I was being cruel and unchristian and that she raised me better than this. The coworker's wife called me again 3 days later, said the funeral was tomorrow and asked if I was going. I said no, she said she wasn't either. Said his family blamed her for his death, said they told her if she hadn't been so controlling and jealous he'd still be alive. They don't know about the affair, I asked. They know, she said, they just don't care. They think I should have forgiven him and worked on our marriage instead of divorcing him. They think I pushed him to this. That's insane, I said. That's grief, she said. People need someone to blame and I'm easier than admitting their son made choices that hurt people. My wife went to the funeral, posted about it on social media, pictures of flowers, quotes about heaven and peace, a long paragraph about how she'll never forget him and how he deserved better from this world. The comments were full of people who still didn't know the real story, asking how she knew him, sending condolences. She responded saying he was a dear friend and colleague who made her laugh on hard days, said the world lost someone special. I wanted to comment, wanted to tell everyone the truth, that he wasn't just her colleague, that they were planning to destroy 2 marriages together, that he helped her steal money from me, that his death was tragic but it didn't erase what they did. My lawyer told me not to, said anything I posted could be used against me in court, said my wife was baiting me into looking cruel and vindictive and I needed to stay silent. So I did. I watched her rewrite history on Facebook while people praised her for being so caring and compassionate, watched her turn a man she had an affair with into a tragic friend taken too soon. Her lawyer sent mine a settlement offer yesterday, said my wife would return the $18,000 in exchange for me dropping all claims to marital assets and agreeing to pay her spousal support for 2 years. Said given the recent tragedy and her mental state, a trial would be unnecessarily cruel and we should resolve this quietly. My lawyer said it's a garbage offer, said she has no leverage and we should proceed to trial, said the judge will see through her performance. But I keep thinking about that guy in his garage, about his wife finding him, about how far this spiraled from me just wanting my wife to face consequences for lying and cheating. Part of me wonders if I should take the settlement, get my money back and walk away, let her have her sympathy and her social media performance and her church friends who think she's the victim. But the other part of me knows that if I back down now, she wins, she gets to rewrite everything. Gets to be the grieving friend instead of the cheating wife, gets to blame me for being cruel while she plays the victim. The new court date is in 2 weeks. The judge looked at my wife like she was something stuck to his shoe. We'd been in court for 2 hours, my lawyer presented everything, the emails planning the divorce. The spreadsheet tracking my finances, the $18,000 moved in small increments over 9 months, bank statements showing every transfer, screenshots of her and her coworker discussing which furniture they'd take from our houses and how much they could get for my tools. My wife's lawyer tried to make it about grief, about trauma, about how she was a changed person after the tragic loss of her colleague and how forcing her to relive this was cruel. how she'd made mistakes but deserved compassion. The judge cut him off. "Your client didn't make mistakes," he said. "She committed financial fraud against her spouse while conducting an extramarital affair and planning to abandon her marriage with stolen assets. The death of her affair partner, while unfortunate, doesn't erase her deliberate actions over nearly a year." My wife started crying. Her lawyer put his hand on her arm. The judge ignored both of them. "The funds in the account ending in 4772 will be returned to the plaintiff in full," he said. "The defendant will receive no portion of marital assets acquired during the marriage. No spousal support will be awarded. The plaintiff is entitled to sole ownership of the marital home and all assets within it." My lawyer didn't even smile, just nodded and made notes. My wife's lawyer asked for a recess, asked if his client could address the court. The judge said no, said he'd heard enough, said the divorce would be finalized in 30 days and my wife had 2 weeks to remove her personal belongings from the house. We walked out of the courtroom. My wife was sobbing in the hallway. Her friend, the one she'd been living with, had her arm around her. They both glared at me as I passed. "I hope you're happy," her friend said. "You destroyed her." I didn't respond, just kept walking. My lawyer and I went to his office. He poured 2 glasses of scotch even though it was 11 in the morning, said we'd won about as decisively as possible, said my wife would probably try to appeal but she had no grounds, said I should expect angry messages but not to respond to any of them. He was right about the messages. My phone started blowing up an hour later, my wife, her friend, her mom, all saying the same things. That I was vindictive and cruel, that I'd taken everything from her, that I'd ruined her life over a mistake, that I should be ashamed of myself. I blocked all of them. My brother called that night, said people at church were talking about the court hearing, said my wife told everyone the judge was biased against women and that I'd lied about the hidden money, said she's planning to keep attending services there because it's her church too and I can't take that from her. "Are you going to keep going?" he asked. "No," I said, "I'm done with that place. I haven't been back since, found a different church across town. Nobody there knows my story, it's better that way." The $18,000 was back in my account within a week. I used some of it to pay my lawyer, put the rest in savings. My wife had 2 weeks to get her stuff from the house. She came on the last possible day with her friend and her sister who told her to leave on Easter. Guess they made up. I wasn't there. My lawyer said I didn't have to be and it was probably better if I wasn't. He was right. They took her clothes, some books, a few pieces of furniture her parents had given us, left everything else. Left the wedding photos on the wall, left her ring on the kitchen counter. I threw the photos away, sold the ring, got $400 for it, donated the money to a men's shelter. The divorce was final 5 weeks after the court hearing. I got the papers in the mail on a Tuesday, signed them, sent them back, that was it. 8 years together erased with a signature. My wife moved 2 hours away after that. Her friend told my brother she couldn't handle living in the same town where everyone knew what happened, got a job doing social media for some small company, makes half what she used to make, lives in a studio apartment. Her parents still won't talk to her. Her sister talks to her sometimes but they're not close. I heard she went on a few dates but nothing serious. Apparently most guys lose interest when they find out about the affair and the court case. The coworker's wife and I got coffee a few months after everything ended. She told me his family still blames her, that they refuse to acknowledge the affair or the planning or any of it, that in their version of events he was a good man who made one mistake and his cruel wife drove him to despair. She seems okay though, better than okay. She got everything in her divorce too. Kept the house, started her own business, said she's happier now than she's been in years. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked me, "exposing everything the way you did?" I thought about it, about Easter dinner, about the screenshots on the laptop, about my wife's face when she realized what I was doing, about the court hearing and the judge's expression and the crying in the hallway. "No," I said, "I don't regret it. And I don't. Some people think I went too far, that I should have handled it privately, that I was cruel for making sure everyone knew, but she spent a year lying to me, planning to leave me, stealing from me, calling me pathetic and clueless while sleeping with someone else in my bed on nights I worked late. She didn't want privacy, she wanted to get away with it. I just made sure she didn't."